What's up, everybody? It's B-Boy for Christ, God Squad Records, here to bring you another Monday message. It's been a little while since I've given one, but during that time, there's been something that's kind of been stirring up in me that I want to talk about to everybody here. Being on social media, and I see a lot of posts, and I had to kind of stop myself from commenting on some for the sake of argument and things of that sort. But I sit and I watch and I, read comments on some posts that other Christian brothers and sisters would put up in regards to certain topics, and I would see things get very heated. And I do know that in those posts, in those comments, that it's not just Christians commenting or reading these posts. Now, there might be straight up hardcore Christians in that post. They might be lukewarm. There might be some who don't really have a faith. There might be some who are young in the faith, who are reading these posts and reading every single comment that's being made. But what I'm seeing in these posts are Christian brothers and or sisters going at each other, arguing with each other over the gospel. What's right and what's wrong? You're right. You're wrong, and I'm right. You need to check yourself. Blah 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 blah. And some of these posts, they're comments by well-known Christian hip-hop artists. Me being a Christian hip-hop artist, when I say well-known, I mean these people are, they're, I guess if you put levels to it, they're higher up on the chain than me and the other fellas at God Squad. I'm not going to throw any names out there because that's not what this is about. But the thing is that with us being in the light that we are in, when another young believer or non-believer sees us going at each other the way that I've seen, it's saddening. And that's probably the only comment that I have made about some of these posts was how sad it was. And I'm like, yo, we shouldn't be going at each other like this. This is the part that hurts, where, from what might have been a good topic to talk about turned into an argument between a well-known Christian hip-hop artist or somebody who is well respected in whatever their field is, and is a Christian, versus going at it with another person. And it's like, man, we shouldn't be doing this. And I thought about some scriptures. Well, one scripture in general. Sorry for putting my head down here, but it goes, whatever happens, conduct yourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. Then whether I come and see you or only hear about you in my absence, I will know that you stand firm in one spirit, striving together as one for the faith of the gospel. In one spirit, striving together as one for the faith of the gospel. And and that's Philippians 1:27. And when I think about that, it's like, there's enough division happening right now, not only in this world, but in the Christian faith. Well, we have denominations, we have groups in the Christian faith who don't believe the same thing as other groups. We have Jehovah's Witness and Mormons and Christians and Muslims, Nation of Islam. five percenters, ISIS. I mean, there's so much division in this world already. And to see a group of who are supposed to be believers arguing over the gospel, it's like, come on, guys. What I'm trying to say is, and this message is not going to be long, it's kind of just straight to the point. I don't want to repeat myself over and over again, but it's like, we gotta be one, man. We gotta be one. It's hard enough out here, straight up, I'm gonna be honest. It's hard dealing with other Christians sometimes. You know, when others see us from the outside in and think of us as being judgmental, we can be very judgmental of each other very harshly. And now to judge another Christian brother or sister is not wrong when it's done in the right light, when it's done in love, when it's done in careful and loving correction. Like, for example, if I'm a Christian man and I'm about to go and step out on my wife, and my other Christian brother comes to me and says, hey man, you shouldn't, that's not cool. You either check yourself. He's coming at me and he's trying to correct me in love and let me know that I'm making the wrong mistake. Not the, I'm making a mistake. And but when we come at each other arguing over what scripture says, over what a scripture means versus our actions or whatever, that's when it comes off as being wrong. But if I think that you are not absolutely correct in what you're saying or what you're perceiving the scripture to be, then I need to come at you with more care and more love and be like, hey brother, I hear what you're saying, man, but when I look at it like this, and this is what God is showing me when I read this scripture or when I look at this situation. What do you think about that? What's your opinion? Just find a different way to go about it. But when I see also, people who I've known to be strong Christians all my life get very, lukewarm when it comes to certain topics and situations, I have to tread lightly on if I want to comment, and when I do comment, how I go about making my comment or making my post, my statement, because I don't want the argument to happen. Because at some point you keep going back and forth, who looks like the fool in this whole situation? And I don't want to look like the fool. I mean, I had a conversation with somebody about the whole Creflo Dollar $65 million jet thing, and I found myself going back and forth with this person about it, and they felt very strong about what they were saying. I felt very strong about what I was saying. And this person kept twisting my words around and just wanted to constantly argue. And I'm like, brother, I'm not trying to argue with you. I said this, but you're twisting what I'm saying and you're suddenly arguing with me. But when you go back and look at it, I mean, we're both gonna look like fools. It's like, what, you calling me a fool? I'm not calling you a fool, but I said we just keep arguing or going back and forth the way that we're going. We're both gonna look crazy. So, and that's looking crazy to everybody else out there. So let's be careful on how we approach situations, people, especially when we are in some sort of a limelight in this Christian hip hop arena, not let alone being a pastor or something like that, but I do Christian hip hop. So, people see my face and they hear my music, and some people value my opinion. Some people value these Monday messages, and somebody's going to value this message. So with that being said, Joe Schmo, Christian rapper, who I'm thinking about in some of these posts, or Christian rappers, maybe they'll see this, maybe they won't, But if you do, tread lightly, fellas. Be loving with how you approach other people, because you just don't know who's looking. We just might turn somebody off who was young in the faith and was seeking Christ, or was even contemplating seeking Christ. You know, we got to be a light. We got to be strong. We got to be together, one faith for the gospel, and display what Christ would want us to display. So that's my Monday message. I pray, I really pray that it got through to somebody. And remember, when you're commenting, when you're tweeting, when you're Facebooking, whatever the case may be, or when you're just talking to another believer or non-believer, tread lightly, think first, act out of love, speak out of love, speak with Christ in your heart. That's pretty much it. So, in closing, we're heading on a missions trip June 5th through June 13th. Big missions trip, Inscription House, Arizona. We're doing some tours along the way on our trip. We're hitting Idaho, where we will be opening for 7 out in Idaho on one of the concerts. We will be in Utah on a couple shows, and we will be hitting Arizona for a few shows as well. So looking forward to it, fellowshipping with my God Squad brothers, as well as some other rappers like Carl Fontaine, Alpha Team, Donald Guy, Promised Son, Prosperity Image, and that's just to name some of them, and some other artists I haven't met yet. So I'm looking forward to meeting you guys in Inscription House, Arizona. So be on the lookout. We're gonna be doing some video diary vlogging type of stuff during this whole process. So we want to keep you guys in the loop on what's happening. Anyway, that's it for me. B-Boy for Christ, God Squad Records, Monday message. Tread lightly, fellas. Act in love. Peace.